Okay, good morning. So, just the downloads are kind of coming in really quickly today. So, the message of today is really going to be about that internal fire, um, because I was just getting this message. Well, so last night, funny enough, we actually ended up getting takeout, and it's ironic that the spirit message that came in that said delay is the deadliest form of denial. And right now, I can see that in so many different places in my life where I am finding myself getting agitated or irritated with the amount of delay, and the delay is not really being because of anything other than lack of acceptance or denying truth. And especially now when we're in this energy of, you know, the sword coming down, the truth really being exposed. Excuse that sound. That's the deposits. It's literally my ice machine. But so I was finding myself really getting frustrated with the denial and the delays, and I found that a lot of that really parallels sort of what's been going on here. Like, I just shared the first message that I felt like really called to share yesterday, and here I am again today realizing that it almost feels like I have to. It almost feels like I'm in this space right now, no production, just literally on my iPad recording this message, because I don't really have any other choice, because it feels like the only move I can make. And then I opened up today out of the same book that I often have been really like looking to for just, again, not so much focused on the author, literature, or the religious context in which it comes from, but more so on just like the messaging. And so today's message was about the fire of your heart. And it says, want to know what God's will for your life is? Then answer this question: what ignites your heart? Forgotten orphans, untouched nations, the inner city, the outer limits. Heed the fire within. Do you have a passion to sing? Then sing. Are you stirred to manage? Then manage. Do you ache for the ill? Then treat them. Do you hurt for the lost? Then teach them. As a young man, this is the author, I felt the call to preach. Unsure if I was correct in my reading of God's will. Ugh, that's a whole can of marbles we can talk about in regards to the interpretation of what you think God's will is. But I sought the counsel of a minister I admired. His counsel still rings true. He said, "Don't preach." He said, "Unless you have to." As I pondered his words, I found my answer. I have to. If I don't, the fire will consume me. And right now, there is this really intense urgency, right? When we're talking about the splitting of the worlds, when we're talking about the truth of the old paradigm, right, which is really where that fire really exists. And when we're talking about the fire, it turns into a burn. It turns into all consuming. And a lot of folks who haven't been on this path are already starting to understand, are light years, it feels, probably away from being at a place to even make a intentional choice to follow God's will, because they haven't taken those steps to even understand. They aren't taking in enough information in their day-to-day life, is the best way that I could say this, to be able to decipher and to be able to create the patterns and the habits and then decode the way that source connects and processes through their vessel. And so that's enough about those spaces. But for those of us in this space, for those of us who are sure and committed and aware, we know that it's on your tail, right? It's on your tail. And I feel like the urgency today, because I know a lot of you really needed to hear this. I know I really needed to hear this today. It's like, you have got, if it's there is no permission anymore, right? Like, it's not even like, well, maybe you're working in a job and you're like, I know I could manage this place with my eyes closed, if that's really where you feel called. And Spirit says, so what's stopping you from managing? And you might say, well, it's not my job description. Like, I have a manager. Like, I can't do that. And Spirit says, no. But what is a manager? What is a manager? You need to start now. You need to do those things. You need to begin to manage, because the only way for that to open up is that you have to reach that vibration. You've got to really say, like, okay, well, I'm already here. I'm already doing this. I already have that rapport with people. I already lead people to drink. I already do these things, so that when the universe does its work to open up that alignment for you, you will have already been enacting. But so some of us really need to hear the time is now. Like, as much as you want to give yourself the excuse that I can't do this, or this isn't the time, or it's not how I want it to be, or it isn't it, but that's not the question that we're being asked right now. When we're talking about the end of one way of consciousness, the end of that string of karma for the collective, and we're beginning this not just a new cycle, but we're starting a completely new understanding of our existence, tapping into a bigger range of our abilities, starting to connect ourselves to the larger than life themes that go on in this space that we all share. And so when we're really talking about this fresh start, this is really God's warning to all of us. that if you don't, it's almost like, and I know that you feel that. I know that you feel that urgency. I know that right now some of you might be feeling like I do, like, wow, I'm getting, excuse me, thrown into certain things, like that I'm doing this for no other reason than I have no other choice, and I feel like the same reason why I have no desire to make this a source of ego, to try to self-will this. The only thing that I know I'm being called to do is share the message, to share the journey, to share my journey, to share my understanding, to share my processing of how I'm being called in every moment to keep going. And so for a lot of us, we really needed to understand that. It's like, it rings so true. I mean, my father was actually a preacher and a prophet, and he considered himself to be a really sacred scribe. And so I know why I chose him in this lifetime, and we have a really tumultuous relationship in regards to like opting into physical parenting. But he was one of my biggest teachers, and I think the biggest thing is like, anyone who steps into their calling feels like there wasn't really any other option for them, and he really didn't fit into society really in a more harsh way. And I feel like that was something that I was able to observe really young. I was like, it must be something that feels life or death for him, because some of his choices just seemed illogical. They seemed like, I don't understand why this was his priority in a lot of places, especially when you're just a kid and you just need nurturing, and then you're trying to process a parent who's following this highly spiritual, highly like before its time sort of path. And so as I've gotten older, and as I've started to walk into my own journey, I think that that's really something I understand. Is I actually see the urgency. I actually see the not even the fear of God, but the fear of the fire can become consuming, because you do have a flame within, right? And you need to be in control of that, and you need to be able to be stoking that. And so for us to just let the flame run rampant without ever tending to it, I think is kind of more deposits, is kind of essentially what Spirit is saying. And it says, stop. The fire of your heart is the light of your path. And so right now, what I think the biggest breakthrough that I think simply some of you really needed to hear is, we're in the middle of the dark, right? We've been in the middle of the dark. We've been like walking around, lights are out, right? We're in the void, we're in the cosmic womb right now, right? We're all creation, where the new birth actually really happens. And so some of you have been like, where do I go? But where do I start? And it's overwhelming because you're surrounded by just like total pitch blackness. And Spirit said, oh, I'll tell you right now, right? Quite simply, the fire that's in your heart. What is that one thing that you know, that you've been knowing, that you've been contemplating, especially probably over the last 3, and I don't even want to mention time, but in the last bit at the end of that cycle there, you've been really contemplating. It's a thing that you go back to and you rationalize to yourself, because maybe it doesn't fit logically or linearly into any sort of particular framework. Maybe it doesn't have an easy fit into what your life was, but your life is new. Your life is new. You've never experienced life the way that it's about to be experienced for you. So Spirit is saying, how can you know that it doesn't fit in? How can you know that I haven't prepared your life and every experience you've ever had, just so that this fire can lead you and light you instead of consume you? Because you're seeing in real time the people that it's being consumed by, right? This is what Spirit's trying to bring us to. 10 of Cups. This is the African American Tarot deck, right? This is where you're headed. This is where Spirit is bringing us all. I had a crazy opportunity to come into contact with someone that I know. It's someone that it felt like soul tribe, felt like, and it was actually on my job yesterday, and it was right after I posted that video that I know it's not about who's watching it. There's no promotion here, but it's just about again, you don't preach unless you have to. Not if you have an audience, not if you see people need guidance. You preach if you have to. If God said you have to, if I'm on your neck, if I got a gun to your head, and this is life or death for you, right? And when I say life or death, I just mean the highest vibration. It's heaven on earth or hell on earth. It's your choice. If you're at that choice, I know y'all are at that crossroads. That's what I'm talking about. And so that's what I mean, right? Like, you're gonna find that by doing it right now. If you can follow the model of these videos, right? Like, this channel probably will transform so much as time goes, but I wanted to always kind of be honest. Like, there's a message in even the production quality of it right now. There's a message in what I look like right now. There's a message in the rawness and the realness, because I know that some of y'all's fires right now are just pure flame. It's new, it's unfiltered, it's like a campfire. It's like, we got these sticks out the wood, we cut this lumber. It's very unkempt, and it may not seem pretty around the sides, but right now, when we're forging who's meant to be leading in this next path, that's exactly what Spirit wants us to do. So I'm just gonna pull a couple cards just to get some reinforcement from Spirit, like I said, because it is what it is. It's like, it's 9 of Pentacles in reverse. Look at this, 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 look at this. This is exactly the energy, right? Because Spirit said, what stokes your fire, right? This man, he's ready to go to market. He's probably the best melon man around, tending to his own garden, right? Tending to his own garden, right? And Spirit says, your Nine of Pentacles, the thing that's going to light you forward is, imagine if this man didn't do this. If this is the only man who sells melons in the village, right? And you can look at it up, right? But if this is the only man who serves this fruit, if he didn't wake up one day and feel like, I have a special connection with, I don't know why it is, but I abundantly grow all these melons year after year after year. And if he just let them sit in his backyard and do nothing with it, would he be able to fund this hut here? Would he be able to be able to bring, you know what I mean? Would he be able to sustain himself? And I think it's really getting to that point with some of us. It's like, if I'm not gonna do the thing that I'm already naturally abundant in, it's the thing that's the fire is the thing that you can do with your eyes closed, the thing that you could get online and just drop without any performance, and it would still be you. It would still set the place on fire. And I think that that's what Spirit is lining up so deeply right now in this exact portal in time that we've been waiting for, right? In this giant 222 energy, right between the two worlds, the two polarities. It's very Two of Pentacles right now, right? The sun infusing is that giant infinity symbol, that figure 8, right? That end and beginning, that everything that waxes, wanes, and everything that, right? And so this is what we're talking about. So when we're talking about in the reverse, some of us are not looking at what are, there is something in your life that is in surplus, something that you could endlessly do. Do that now. Do that now. Figure out how to connect the dots, because you're being called. You have to. This is what I'm saying. He has to do this, right? Because the economy of whatever village that he's in depends on his contributions. He can't rationalize to himself, like, I don't know, why would it, I mean, they're just melons. I don't know if everybody's gonna need some melons. And you don't know whose household might be pickling and jarring and jamming these. I mean, it could change the dynamic. You can become the leader that you are because you're the only one, it looks like, for miles with some melons of this abundance, right? And so that's what I'm talking about. It's that Nine of, and this, I was just about to say, the Nine of Pentacles means like you doing this, because some of y'all, like I told you in your last video, you're seeing your Ten of Pentacles, right? And it's in your face. And we talked about the fear that you feel when you don't feel like you're going to be ready for that, and how we felt the grief, right? We felt the grief of like, okay, I'm not going to be ready for it. That sucks. That's like the worst feeling. It's almost like kill me, right? Okay, so now follow-up message. So you saw the Ten of Pentacles. So now you're seeing what Spirit's been trying to do. Spirit says, so you are aligned. It is a reflection of you, but it's a reflection of this one thing that you're not doing, it's not even that you're not doing, but you're not understanding you have to. Like, if you thought, like, because it might seem irrational, like maybe you're an artist, maybe you're a musician, maybe you want to be a manager, maybe you're a janitor and you want to really work up. It doesn't matter what capacity is, and we're all in different capacities. We need all the light workers in every field, right? Kings come back and incarnate as homeless people to learn the next step, the next thing, you know what I mean? So you don't even got to worry about all that. But whatever it is for you that is in surplus, Spirit says this is what's going to make you that eligible bachelor for you, because you got to be the Nine of Pentacles before you can do what? Receive what's coming to you. The 10th Pentacle, the thing, this is what you see, right? This is what you see. You see it. This is the bottom of the deck. You see this coming and you're like, dang, I don't think I can receive that. We felt the grief of that, right? Around that new moon we just recently had in Pisces. We felt the grief of that with Pluto really sucking up, like, right? Because right now you're seeing the hellhole, you're seeing the garbage disposal, right? You're feeling that death, the Grim Reaper coming to really collect all the trash and take it out and clear it out. That's the death process. And we felt that grief of like, well, what if they come and I'm looking like this in the reverse? I'm not even utilizing this. I don't even know that somebody's looking for somebody who's doing what you're not, which you know you don't feel like you have a choice to do, but you're not doing because you're not able to rationalize it, or maybe it doesn't make sense to the people in your community, or maybe your whole life people have been like, hey, keep your day job. Whatever it is, bro. This is your confirmation from Spirit that this is the time, because this Nine of Pentacles plus this Page of Pentacles is going to give you quite literally the Ten of Pentacles that you were seeing in that last, that we saw in front of us. You got a physical representation of what that looks like. So Spirit said, there's no such thing. And that's what's really going to change, right? Because this old paradigm of like idols and legacy and celebrity, right? It was a part of that age of Pisces where God was outside of us, where we had to acts of services. It was very ritualistic. It was very much like, I don't know how to get this source, so I need to go seek it, right? So therefore we're putting people on pedestals, we're doing this, we're doing that. And for a long time it was, and even in this, and even as it was coming to an end, we really saw it when we see social media, everybody just stepping up and saying, I'm for everybody, and my story matters in this way. And so what we were seeing was this lack of, You don't preach unless you have no other choice, right? Because that's how you know it's aligned for you. I'm not here talking to y'all because I want to tell you about your karmics, or because I want to predict your future, or because I want to sit out here and do a million, put these tarot spreads on. Like, no. I'm here because I don't have any other choice to, okay? And so whatever that is for you in your life, and that's what's going to separate the new birth of artists that were always meant to lead in this, and the old birth of artists who were coming to art maybe for leisure. It's a we're talking about a different thing. It's not going to be something that you even feel like it feels like I'm getting backed into a corner. This doesn't really seem to logically correlate. Like, maybe you're really like experiencing a ton of like I'm experiencing housing insecurity. So how on earth is this YouTube video supposed to really help with that? Like, right? Like, I'm like, well, Spirit, why are you having me record this right now? Because it's not really got nothing to do. It's not like I'm having no followers. You're telling me not to promote it. You're just telling me to do it. Doesn't really make sense, right? But Spirit's like, dude, just trust me, because that is the fire that will light you out of this dark period. And you just have to trust that. You have to trust that. And I don't even want this video to be overlong because I wanted to get right to the point. But that's what I'm talking about. This is the energy of today, is like, look, open your eyes. Because anytime I get a card in reverse, I always say that the energy is here. You're not perceiving it correctly. So you need to identify where is that Nine of Pentacles for you today. And I'm going to just go ahead and pull one more card, because I feel like that's the message. Look at that. Boom. Go, walk up, ascend, do it. Four of Swords. You've spent all this time healing so that you can go higher with it, right? So that you don't have to sit here and give yourself more excuses as to why you can't climb that staircase and ascend that mountain and keep going, right? Yes, he's looking back at the pain that would tell him, I'm not gonna. It's that really hurt. The Three of Swords really hurts, right? I don't wanna do that. But he has to look back, and he has to just be sure that there's only one way to go. We're only going up. You think you can run from this? You think you can run from God when God said the fire will consume you? The fire will consume you. Do you want to be like the rest of these folks that are feeling hell on earth? Hell on earth, okay? Because they haven't even been taking in all the information that Spirit was telling them. It's time to start taking in this information years ago, right? It's time to start taking in this information. You need to start paying attention. You need to start understanding what language I communicate to you in. I don't care who your gods are. I don't care who you pray to, but you need to understand that language for yourself, because when it comes time to go up these stairs, you're going to be sitting down there burning in the pits of hell, because, and not a real pits of hell, but I mean, your reality that you will be composing will be ignoring all of your guidance. And so you'll be forfeiting your protection. So that's why you will quite literally attract that. And not so much for this collective, but I'm talking about for what we're seeing right now in this polarizing time, where people are either gravitating down or they're choosing to go up the stairs. Choose to go up the stairs today. Choose to go up the stairs today. Let me just look at the bottom of the deck. Hello. Four of Cups, right? It's that thing where this card is crazy, and this is a great message to end on. So the story goes that this baby is an orphan, and these are his parents both died. And so he's kind of left to the wild, and he finds this unlikely lion who he's over here. This is a traumatic scene, right? But this lion, essentially, this cub, essentially, that will become the king of the Sahara, is going to take him in, and it's going to be that support. And it's unexpected. He just finds this son who's like sitting here out of food, out of water, because his parents are dead. He has no guidance. And this is what I'm talking about. The Four of Cups, that boredom you have with your life, the boredom with the predicament, the boredom with the darkness, the lack of stimulation that you've been feeling. But this thing, that fourth cup that comes from Spirit, that you ignore, that you think is like, oh no, it's not connected. It doesn't really matter. I need like real money right now, Spirit. I don't need to be making YouTube videos. I don't need to be making like whatever it is, whatever your niche thing is. Like, Spirit, no, like, trust me, I know it's wrong. I know what bills I gotta pay. Like, no, I'm telling you, because Spirit it's the thing that feels the most unlikely, that's gonna take you while you feel orphaned, while you're unplugged right now, and it's gonna lead you and guide you and support you out of this dark time. So that's really the message that we're gonna end on today. We're at 19 minutes. I'm really loving that for us, but it's just a quick morning message that I knew needed to get out today, that I needed to hear so I could watch it back. But today is the time. And Spirit, let me just remind you with that closing remark, the fire of your heart, okay, is the light of your path. Period. That's it. Mic drop. Go in peace.